Hey, this is Scott, and today we're going to talk about these sound blankets from Vocal Booth To Go and talk about how I use them to change my room from sounding like this. Hey, this is Scott, and today I just want to quickly introduce a couple of accessories to sounding like this. So first off, I am not like a sound guru. I'm not like a top level authority on this topic at all, but I do appreciate good sound. And while this room may not sound perfect, my goal in sound treating this room was to cut out the ugly echo and the ugly kind of discoloration that I was getting in my audio from the fact that this is a small room with hard walls and a hardwood floor and not a lot of soft stuff to really absorb that echo. And that was something that I really always had to deal with and try and cover for in post, and it was really quite a hassle. So I wanted to get rid of that, and I wanted to get a really kind of clean, neutral base of audio, especially as I'm doing microphone tests. Sometimes I want to have a neutral base to start with, and then maybe if I want to add some, color to it in post afterwards, I can do that, but I wanted something nice and clean to start with. So let's just quickly talk about these blankets specifically and the kind of process of sound treating this room in general. So first off, this is not soundproofing, it's sound treating. And the difference between that is that sound treating will help to, like I said, cut out that, echo and kind of give you a neutral room to record in, whereas soundproofing is something that's going to stop the noise from escaping or stop noise from entering that room. And that's not what this is. Noise will still enter and noise will still escape the room. It might be cut down a little bit because some of it is absorbed by these blankets, but like I just said, the goal of these blankets is to absorb the sound so that way you're not getting that ugly reflection or echo coming back from those hard surfaces like walls or floors or even tabletops in some cases. Hey, this is Scott, and today we're coming at you with another 5-minute review. Today we're talking about the Aperture Light Dome and Light Dome Mini Mark II. So the second thing I want to address is the fact that I see a lot of people saying that I'll just get moving blankets, they're the same thing. But that's absolutely not true. There's a lot that goes into designing and making these blankets for this purpose that is not existent in moving blankets, because that's not what they're meant for. And you may not be able to see it because they look the same, but that's like saying a knockoff guitar is going to sound the same as a Gibson guitar just because they have the same body shape. Absolutely not true. And there's a reason for the price difference. But even then, these blankets are not expensive. I got 6 of these in a set, the 8x8 size, which is fairly large. And for 6 of them, it cost me just about $200. And in this room right now, I'm using 4 of them, not counting the one that is right here. So you don't necessarily need 6 of them. You can buy 1 or 2 or 3. And at that point, it's going to be very, very affordable, especially when you compare it to the alternative, which is acoustic foam. Acoustic foam is going to cost you a lot more for good quality acoustic foam, again, that actually has, an effective result. And to get the same amount of coverage with acoustic foam, it's going to cost you a lot more money than it will cost you with these blankets. So again, if you go cheap and you get cheap no-name brand acoustic foam, it might not even have any effect whatsoever. And if you actually pay for good quality acoustic foam, you're either not going to have that much of it or you're going to be paying a lot more. And at that point, you also have to think of how you're going to attach it to your wall, because that is a semi-permanent setup. It's something you have to either glue to the wall or tape to the wall somehow. And it's not portable, it's not easy to take it down without ruining it. There's a lot of drawbacks to that. And while yes, it can get great results and it might look cool, you can have it, even just in the back of your video and it still looks cool, it's going to be a little bit more tricky to work with. So getting back just to what makes these blankets special compared to, like I said, something like a standard moving blanket. Well, to start off with, the outside material that these are made of is a lot more breathable. So you want the sound to be able to penetrate the blanket so that way it can effectively be absorbed. That is the goal here. But if the material is not breathable, then the sound is just going to bounce back off that for the most part, and it totally is rendering itself useless. So having that material here allows these blankets to effectively do what they're supposed to do. So of course, Vocal Booth To Go has a lot of experience in developing the material that's actually inside these blankets to, effectively absorb your sound. And this is just a little cross section of some material that I pulled out from one of the grommet holes when I first got these blankets. But it's more complex than you would think. If you have too much material in there, it's going to be too dense, and again, that's not going to effectively absorb your sound. But if it's too airy, then it's just going to pass through too easily. So they found kind of that perfect balance of enough material to absorb that sound without being so dense that it's going to kind of render itself ineffective. So that's, again, something that moving blankets are not even thinking about. And even the stitching on here has been thought out very carefully about its placement and its tightness, so that way it allows the blanket to be, airy enough to absorb that sound, but again, not so tight that it's just going to become more of a barrier than an actual absorption. So they've really thought of all the details here in the design to really maximize that absorptive power. These are also going to be a little bit easier to use or to set up in your space than just standard moving blankets for the most part. Of course, as blankets, you can just throw them over any surface, or if you have a couple of light stands with a pole across it, you can throw it over that and just let it hang next to you. But these also have some grommet holes in the top of them that allow you to either screw them maybe into some surface, or like I have here, I put some hooks in the walls and I just hung it on there, so that way it's kind of a semi-permanent solution where I don't have to set it up and take it down every time, but if I want to remove them, I can very easily remove them. And that's great for me because I do a lot of on-location interviews and stuff like that. So if I want to bring these with me, and in that case I would maybe hang them over a couple of light stands, I could get really nice clean audio even on location. So that's a huge plus for me. And again, that's one of the big benefits over something like acoustic foam, where it's really permanently set up in your space. This is something you can bring on location with you, and for me, or somebody who travels a lot, that's a really huge plus. So the bottom line is these work really, really effectively, and of course the audio will speak loud enough for itself. So I'm just going to show you a couple of clips back to back of some of my older videos before I had these blankets up and compare them to the audio as I'm talking now, just to show you how effective these have been. Before we get started, I just want to show you this strap here that Black Rapid sent me to check out. It's one of their new groovy straps. If you have any questions or comments, as always, be sure to leave that down below and I will be sure to get back to you. If you like this video or found it helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share it if you'd like, subscribe to see more in the future, and as always, thank you for watching.